welcome to this edition of Steelers Weekly. Tonight you'll see some of the best content from Steelers.com that aired throughout the week. Let's get started.
Samuels is back there with him. He's back. He fires a pass down the field. It's caught at the 35, the 40, the 45. Juju Smith-Schuster up the sideline. He's at the 30, the 25, the 20, the 15, 10. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
Hi everybody, welcome inside the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. It is time for Chalk Talk. I'm Missy Matthews with Tunch Ilkin, and we're going to do some touchdowns today for the Steelers.
Right, yeah, we're going to show Mason's 2 touchdown throws, one to Juju, and then one to Deontay Johnson, and we're going to see how the concepts work and how the routes were run.
All right, Juju's up first.
Right, Juju's up first. All right, so now watch this. They're in the bunch right here. And Juju's on the inside, and James Washington, he's going to run a shallow cross. Juju is going to come outside him, and he is going to run intermediate cross. And this guy's going to go and in cut, and Xavier Grimble, he is just going to run a go route. So let's go watch this happen. And at the snap of the ball, there it is. Now stop right here. Now, one of the things, as Juju is running this, we used to call this a stair step. So he's running across, but he comes up 2 steps, and then he continues. What that does is it shakes the cornerback. Now watch it. Watch how he does it. Continue. And then now that shakes the corner. And now one of the things about Juju is everyone, you know, he's a 4.5, 4.6 guy, but he has great competitive speed. All right, now we're gonna watch what they do. So they've got a 5-man front: D Ford, Fred Warner, and then here's the over with Nick Bosa on the outside. Now they're gonna run a 3U game. That's what we call it, a 3TE game. The defensive tackle is going to go upfield, the nose tackle is going to go upfield, and Nick Bosa is going to come around. Now, normally you would area this game, but because they don't area it, they pick it up real well. Let's run it as the ball snap. Now stop right here. Now notice Pouncey's got Armstead. You've got Ramon on Buckner, and you've got right here Al on Nick Bosa, and back up here they stuffed the game between David DeCastro and Matt Lerner. So it's a 5-man rush. The Steelers do a great job of giving him a pocket, and so you got Mason Rudolph right here with no one in his face, and here comes Juju. And watch what happens now. He puts it right on the money, and there's that stair step, and he is off to the races. I just thought that was a great route concept, and it was executed very well. And the route that Juju ran was to perfection.
Steelers trailing by 4, 1st and 10. Rudolph in the gun. He's back. And he throws it down the near sideline, and the pass will be caught for the touchdown. That's Deontay Johnson.
I told you.
For this play on Chalk Talk, Tunch, take us through Deontay Johnson's first NFL touchdown.
Right, Deontay does a great job. The play before this, the corner right here tackled Deontay because he got open. So one of the things that I said during the broadcast, I said, throw it to him right again, throw it to him all again. Yeah, that's right, because he's still thinking about this. Now, you watch this. This is cover 3. I don't know why the corner is up and pressed. He should be back here because they're going to play a zone. The free safety has got the middle, the corner's got the front. And so the corner right here, as Deontay Johnson comes off the ball, he's going to release outside, and this corner is going to be faked out of his shoes. Let's let it run. At the snap of the ball. Now he's not. Now he paused, and look how open Deontay Johnson is. I mean, the corner is dead, and Mason throws the ball and let it run. What a catch! What a throw! And once again, now this is a 4-man rush. And these guys are pretty good pass rushers. That's Eric Armstead. You got Buckner here, and you got Sean Day here. and you've got the fourth guy out there. Now let's watch the pass rush and watch the blocking. Now, great job. They're running a twist again. It's what we call a time game, but David DeCastro punched it off, and Marquise Pouncey picks it up.
Out of beating Baltimore, a rival team, a team that's considered pretty good. Get your feet back under you, get a little confidence back, and go from there.
Here was this week's edition of Agree to Disagree. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Agree to Disagree, the show with the motto,
I'm right, he's wrong.
All
I'm
right.
not so sure about you either.
Well, I wore my best official shirt today, so stay in line,
That's why
boys.
I'm not so
Statement
sure.
number one.
Depends what Tom
Run
Brady thinks about this.
slash stop the run first. Pursuta.
Agree. Yeah, let's repeat that. Run, stop the run. Fix that first. Steelers have a lot of issues right now, as 0-3 would suggest. But to me, the two biggest ones on the offensive side of the ball, particularly with Mason Rudolph, now your quarterback for the foreseeable future, got to commit more to the run. They have to run the ball better. That would, in turn, set up play action, which would make Mason Rudolph's life easier. That would at least give the pass rush an inclination that it might have to play the run on the way to attacking Mason Rudolph. That would make Rudolph's life easier. Conversely, on defense, yeah, there's some third down issues. There are some penalty issues. But I think it all stems from the fact that Seattle and San Francisco basically run the ball down the Steelers' throats. When you let a team do that, eventually everything else is going to break down. I know it's cliched, I know it's old school, but hey, I'm cliched and I'm old school. Fix run and stop the run first, please.
Labs.
Disagree, disagree, disagree. We can get to running the ball and fixing that part of the offense after you do the most important thing, which you also mentioned, was Mason Rudolph is now the quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger is not, and I'm not suggesting that you got to do a total remake of the offense, but you have to understand, I believe, who the quarterback is and start catering some of things like formations, some play calls, personnel groups, those kinds of things to the quarterback who's actually playing instead of for the quarterback around whom the original offense was built because, you know, hey, he is a franchise quarterback and likely going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame selection. So to me, the thing that has to happen just before you get to fixing the running game is understand who the quarterback is and start doing things and calling plays that are more suitable to his skill set than the other guy's skill set.
All right, two AFC North teams coming up next at home for the Steelers at Heinz Field Monday night against the Cincinnati Bengals. Then the Ravens come to town the following Sunday for a 1 o'clock game. So statement number two, win the next two and they're right back in it. Labs, you're first.
Agree. I mean, I'm not saying that, 2-3 is any kind of great record, which is what the Steelers would be if they do win the next two. But this kind of reminds me a little bit of the situation in the Steelers division. It was the AFC Central at that time in 1995. After at their bye, the Steelers were only 3-4, but they were tied for first place. So it's more about the positioning in your division than it is the record. And if you win those two games, Cleveland already has 2 losses. Their next set of games is at Baltimore, at San Francisco versus Seattle, a bye, and then they're going to play that team up north, those New England Patriots. The Ravens, their next 4 games starting immediately, Cleveland, at Pittsburgh, against Cincinnati at home, and then at Seattle. And so 2-3, when you look at those other 2 teams' records, that might not be that bad of a record in terms of your placement within your own division.
Pursuta?
Yeah, I'm going to agree. It's all relative. The point about the division is sound. And, I'm not a math major. I might be old school and cliched, but in doing the math, if the Ravens are 2-1 right now and then the Steelers would in fact beat them in 2 weeks under our scenario, and the Steelers would have beaten the Bengals before beating the Ravens, that would make the Steelers 2-3, right? So the worst they could be is one game behind the Ravens at that point. Do I have that right?
Yes.
I familiarized myself with him in today's ball in terms of the things that he provided against them. He made a few plays. He made a few plays against us a week ago, vertical passing game.
Here was this week's edition of Agree to Disagree. All right, a lot to go over today here inside the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. The Steelers are preparing for a Monday night matchup against the 0-3 Cincinnati Bengals. Today was Coach Tomlin's press conference. Players will be back out on the practice field starting tomorrow. As you heard, the Steelers still searching for their first win. A lot to go over. A trade was announced today by the Steelers, but we start with injuries that actually led to the trade for a tight end. Coach Tomlin said that both Vance McDonald and Xavier Grimble were injured in the game on Sunday in San Francisco. They are both questionable, along with Anthony Chickillo and Vince Williams, who did not play at all. Joe Hayden still dealing with that shoulder injury. The guys listed as questionable, maybe missing some practice time this week. And then Rosie Nix, who missed the game as well with a knee injury. He is probably out once again, so we will be staying tuned to that. But Coach Tomlin said with the two tight ends who were injured, Vance McDonald, of course, was not able to return. They decided to trade the Seattle Seahawks for tight end Nick Vanette in exchange for a 5th-round draft pick in 2020 next year for the Steelers. He said he is optimistic that Vance McDonald will be able to play on Monday, but it does not hurt to add depth. He had a chance to see Vanette at his Ohio State Pro Day and also get to know him a few weeks ago when the Seahawks were at Heinz Field. Take a listen.
We just played those guys a short number of weeks ago, so I familiarized myself with him in today's ball in terms of the things that he provided against them. He made a few plays. He made a few plays against us a week ago, vertical passing game and so forth, that really kind of is consistent with what we've expected and seen from him. And also, he was a handy teamer. I mean, this is a guy that started on their punt team and their kickoff return team against us just 2 weeks ago. So, he has an opportunity to be helpful to us, even if Vance, runs the course and is able to be available to us in the game.
All right, and Vanette will be wearing number 88 for the Steelers. Here is a look at the Steelers draft picks for this upcoming draft. As it stands today, of course, that does not take into consideration possible compensatory picks, but right now just 5 overall, none in the 1st, 3rd, or 5th round for the Steelers. Coach Tomlin talking about a number of things today after the game in San Francisco. When asked about Mason Rudolph's play, he said, "We lost. We all lost." And that was about the extent that he gave for his first start in the NFL. Today, Coach had much more to say about Mason.
The quality of performance wasn't always what we wanted or what he wanted, but I did really like his demeanor, his communication, his awareness in the midst of all of that. Sometimes you get a chance to learn things about yourselves and one another in regular season in-game action. It was good to see that he's a good communicator in the midst of all of those things, and really accountable guy, a guy that's comfortable in his skin.
Coach Tomlin said he was happy to see what transpired with Minkah Fitzpatrick. Just a few days of practice in a new city with a new team. Of course, the interception, we all know what happened in that game. Said that he did a great job in terms of working on a short week, but wants to get him infused much more on the Steelers defense. Minkah Fitzpatrick finished with 4 tackles. That interception you just saw, 1 pass defense, and also a forced fumble. Here's Coach Tomlin.
And kudos not only goes to him, but in an effort to simplify things for him, we asked some additional things of others, and for the large part, we got what we needed there. It'll be good to get him with some additional time and to be able to continue for him to learn the depths of what it is that we do and have a better understanding. I think that's not going to do anything but aid him in terms of his productivity.
On Tuesday, the Steelers had an open locker room session for the media, and if you talk to any of the defensive players, it was very clear they were not happy with their performance. Forcing 5 turnovers but not being able to capitalize, also not being able to stop the run is something everybody from TJ Watt to Cam Hayward said is what they need to focus on to take that next step as a defensive unit. Coach Tomlin says he agrees.
It was too many times that the power was falling forward, and so, it's better technique, is more physicality in terms of taking on blocks to minimize vertical holes, so there's not more space as plays come to an end. I just thought in too many times in the game, the runner was able to fall forward, and that usually has very little to do with the quality of the tackle and has more to do with how we're combating blockers and minimizing space relative to that, whether it's horizontally or vertically. I think that's an area of the game that I thought we could have been better at.
All right, tomorrow is Thursday, and that will be the first day the Steelers players will be out here on the practice field, which means our first practice report, so stay tuned for that. That is going to do it for this edition of Steelers Live. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m.
Growing up in Columbus, Ohio, there's so many Steelers fans. That's all you see is black and yellow. It's either that or Browns fans, and obviously I'm not going to be a Browns fan,
Here was this week's edition of Agree to Disagree.
Growing up in Columbus, Ohio, there's so many Steelers fans. That's all you see is black and yellow. It's either that or Browns fans, and obviously I'm not going to be a Browns fan,
It seems like the Steelers' new tight end, Nick Vannett, is already fitting in perfectly here in Pittsburgh. And just like Mika Fitzpatrick last week, Vannett is getting a crash course this week, getting ready for Monday Night Football against the Bengals at Heinz Field. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Steelers Live. It is Thursday, but it's actually the first day of practice out on the fields here at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex for the Steelers. So let's go ahead and take a look at the practice report. There were several players, not practicing today. Guys due to injuries. Joe Hayden with that shoulder injury. Rosie Nix, coach, said yesterday probably out once again. Anthony Chickolo, foot injury. Vance McDonald, shoulder. Vince Williams, hamstring. 2 coaches' days for Mark Barron and Marquise Pouncey. Also, Jay Elliott was limited today with a hamstring injury. As you can see there, no Vance McDonald out on the practice fields for practice, but he was out there and helping the new tight end, Nick Vannett. Everybody, it is time for your keys to the game presented by your neighborhood Ford store. A big Monday night matchup at Heinz Field. Steelers and Bengals. Tunch Ilkin and Arthur Moats are with me to give their keys. Arthur, you're up first.
The defense has to continue to create turnovers. We saw them create 5 turnovers last week, and we got Mason the ball back a lot. Now, the more you get Mason the ball back, the better he's going to be, and better that offense is going to be. So it's important for the defense to continue to get the ball.
Arthur, watching the tape on Cincinnati, they're very, very basic. They only run 3 wides and ace. They don't do any regular people. They don't do anything else. And they throw the ball all the time. I think they run the ball about 35, 36% of the time.
Which is strange considering they have Joe Mixon as well.
Right. And so you're the defensive expert. Now, you attack these guys. I don't think they can block our guys.
Oh, I agree 100%. I think their O-line is very poor. And when you think about the things that you're going to make Andy Dalton have to do with that ball, it should be a great day for the secondary.
Yeah, so my key, Missy, is to protect Mason Rudolph. They have 3 really good pass rushers. Coming from the left, the offensive right, Sam Hubbard. And then they got Geno Atkins. He's probably one of the best 3-technique defensive tackles in the National Football League. He's got a great first step. He gets in the gap, and one of the things that he does is he really collapses the pocket. And then on the other side, they've got Carlos Dunlop. Yes. Now, they flipped Carlos and Sam Hubbard But one of the things that they're doing is they're running a lot of double eagle, three-man front with Carlos Dunlap, who's had his hand in the dirt the whole career. He's standing up.
And not as effective when he's standing up.
Right.
I think for the Steelers offense, we want to see that more. Keep
Right.
him standing
I
up.
like
Don't let him stay.
Because he's a little awkward standing
Absolutely.
up. Yeah. So I think you protect Mason Rudolph, get rid of the ball quickly if you're Mason, and I think this is going to be a Steelers win.
All right, another way to help Mason would be to run the ball. And I know we keep saying that, as Dave DeCastro put it best today in the locker room. We're a broken record. That's all guys keep saying on the offensive line and on offense is we have to run the ball, but they have to commit to running the ball, Tunch. And I know you know all about that. I think that's something that is really eating at a team where you know that they can do it. They proved it last year. The same guys are here. They just need to do it and commit to it.
You know, Missy, I think one of the reasons they don't commit to it, last week with Mason, he's not as comfortable under center, and with crowd noise and under center, it's a little bit more difficult. He's more comfortable in shotgun. The other thing is, you got no Rosie, you got Vance hurt, and then X-Man if you don't have tight ends and you don't have fullbacks, it's very hard to run the ball.
Well, they just picked up a tight end, so we will see. Commit to the run. All right, those are your keys to the game for Steelers and Bengals. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for joining us tonight on this edition of Steelers Weekly. We'll see you next time.